In 2019, Marvel Studios took a movie-length victory lap in celebration of its own successful conquest of global popular culture by making two-thirds of the plot and running time of Avengers Endgame a literal walking tour of their own greatest hits. Now in 2021, with COVID pandemic having necessitated, let's say, a delay in the release of the new album, they've instead been putting out some fun unreleased material, nifty experimental singles, and solo projects by like the drummer and bass guitarists.
Metaphor.
Anyway, the next logical step in this tortured allegory is time for the remix album. So now here's Marvel Studios on Disney Plus's first animated show, a brand borrowing of the cult fave Marvel Comics anthology What If, which keeps that series' basic premise to a degree that effectively proves the MCU experiment in turning an entire normie mainstream entertainment audience into mid-tier Marvel fanboys has been alarmingly successful. Said premise, now that you've committed our arbitrary yet somehow also desperately compelling continuity to memory, here are bite-sized versions of stories you already saw, but slightly and then increasingly less slightly different in a butterfly effect-y kind of way, so you can enjoy something familiar, but now maybe with marshmallows or whatever. Maybe the good guys will be evil, maybe the bad guys will be heroes, maybe someone who died will live, maybe the guys will be ladies, or the old people will be young people, maybe people will swap costumes around, that kind of thing. And hey, if one of these new versions of already popular things becomes even more popular on its own, and enough of the audience start saying they'd watch it in one of the actual movies or shows, well, shoot, guys, that'd suggest this billion-dollar entertainment company would do something like conduct carefully managed market research for its own future products under consideration for sale in the form of a product they're already selling, and well, that's just so cynical, you guys, really. Yeah, as I've observed before, it's Disney's casino and the mouse always wins. That What If is the most flagrantly commercial for commercialism production in the MCU has ever birthed. Ironically, this is probably the first time a Marvel production has actually embodied the often unfair accusation everything is a trailer for the next thing, might be inescapable in the premise and especially potent in this first episode, wherein it feels as though roughly half of the 30-minute runtime has been given over to montages of the main character serving looks and striking hero poses crafted specifically to become social media viral gifs spread by fans demanding a live-action incarnation the studio has probably already struck a deal for, doesn't end up derailing the fun of the thing, it turns out. The first episode is a big, fun, playful romp that, yes, doesn't have much to say beyond, wow, she's cool, and yes, I would like to see her show up in the films, and I look forward to all the cosplay come Halloween and the convention season, but also hits at more substantial stories yet to come, and potentially teases something big, could maybe unify the series itself and spin back out into the rest of the MCU, maybe, because of course it does. Fans of the comics will probably know it when they see it, I'll put it that way. But for now, our inaugural trial run through a multiversal take on the MCU rewinds to the events of Captain America the First Avenger, but here a version where a returning in voiceover Haley Atwell as Agent Peggy Carter diverges from the original cinematic universe version of the story by remaining in the laboratory during the super soldier experiment. This causes her to ID and attempt to thwart the Nazi saboteur who had infiltrated the place, leading his attack to go off early and Steve Rogers to be wounded before he can enter the super soldier machine, leaving Peggy to take his place as the only person in proximity in time. Successfully transformed, as Steve was in the original timeline, into a muscle-bound superhuman, but here initially denied combat by sexist superiors, she outfits herself with a British-themed uniform and shield, compliments of Howard Stark, and takes the fight to Hydra herself, with the top brass soon coming around to Captain Carter's value as a fighter and propaganda icon to rally around, while the still diminutive but no less gung-ho Steve soon makes himself her partner in battle via an Iron Man-esque battlesuit provided by Stark. But on the villain side, the change in events has also altered the plans of the Red Skull, who is now using the Tesseract not to manufacture weapons, but instead to play around with interdimensional portals, threatening to unleash, well, like I said, I'm not 100% sure it's what I think it might be, but I imagine a lot of fans will make the same guess I did and will not reveal here. For now, at least, anyone concerned with the streaming MCU's demonstrable penchant for poking the angry internet sad man bear will no doubt enjoy the fact that, yes, even the just-for-fun Mad Libs cartoon series kicks off with an episode featuring a gender-swapped proto-feminist superheroine battling a literal Nazi vortex. There's a breezy retro quality to the cel-shaded 2.5D animation where the lighting and subtle design, color, and aesthetic choices do a lot to counteract some stiff movement here and there. Some of it feels evocative of the famous Fleischer Brothers Superman shorts, though according to the producers, apparently the core point of reference for the overall look of the series was the work of J.C. Leyendecker, which, yeah, that definitely tracks, and you're certainly not going to hear me complaining. If you're going for early 20th century neoclassical, that's the guy to start with. Story-wise, it does seem to wrap up just as it's really getting going, but it also packs a solid amount of action and heart into a quick serving, and one way or another, it's practically sending up a flare to let us know they aren't done. I'm definitely looking forward to more variety and substance in the episodes going forward, but this is a solid 7 out of 10 entertaining start. What's next for What If? I guess we'll see.